My name's Frederic. I qualified in Australia in 2004 and I passed the 3 QLTS assessments at the first attempt. I'd always wanted to come to London. London was, as far as I was concerned, a very important place for me as a lawyer to come and work and get experience. When I was given the opportunity to come and work within the same group of companies at the corporate level, that was really an opportunity I wanted to take. And so taking the QLTS was essentially necessary for that. I saw QLTS even independent of that as being important because being admitted as a solicitor in England and Wales is really a qualification that any lawyer worth his salt should seek to obtain, particularly where their work is international, really, which I aim to continue pursuing. My role in Dubai was particularly time-consuming. I worked 70, 80 hours a week, and I thought it would be difficult without having a preparation course to be able to appropriately focus the study on the areas of the course which were important in order to pass the QLTS. I thought that sort of uncoordinated, unfocused study would really be wouldn't serve the ends that I needed, and so a preparation course was mandatory really for someone who had as little time as I did at the time. Very positive. From the course materials, which I found to be clear, coherent, but very detailed at the same time, to the practice questions, both at the end of each chapter and also in the online resources. They really did reinforce the learnings contained in the readings. The tutor support was effective. It was very responsive. And there was usually some very good insights from the tutors into the focus of the course and where I would be best served to focus my attention in terms of the readings and the questions. So I think all in all, the infrastructure around the course really did set me up quite well for the various QLTS assessments. Tutor interaction I thought was excellent because the tutors always provided very useful feedback and focused my mind on what was important, what was the most effective way to study, as well as the combination of the feedback once you've done some of the practice tests and questions. That really assisted in reinforcing the materials and in getting me thinking the right way about how to answer these questions. Which I think was of critical importance, in particular because I was working and traveling a lot, throughout Europe as well as into the Middle East in places where it was very difficult to get study done. So I had very limited time, and having that focus and ability to really concentrate on the appropriate areas and have the information presented in a way which made it comprehensible easiest. I think that actually was instrumental really in me being able to study effectively and get through the various tests. So this was particularly challenging this year. 2012 on a work level and a personal level was very busy, and so also because I needed to get the tests and the various tests done quickly, I really didn't have much time for the OSCE and the TLST in particular because I've been traveling for 2 months and sort of had no chance to get the material. So by the time I received everything, I only had about a month left. So at that point I dedicated the ensuing 3 weekends and 1 week leading up to the tests themselves. And I tried to sort of creep in some readings in taxis and airport terminals and on airplanes as well whenever I could. And that was really important. So I didn't have that much time, and that was why I spent quite a bit of time before I actually embarked on the studies to plan it, because I thought if I just read haphazardly, it wouldn't get done. But with the tutor's help, with the way the course materials were laid out relatively systematically, I have to say, it made it easier to plan and therefore easier to execute. Absolutely, they gave me as much time as they could in the circumstances. There was a lot of work on at the time, which obviously competed with my need to study, but they provided additional resources within the organisation, as well as providing me the important time immediately before the exams to focus entirely on my preparation. So yeah, can't complain on that front. You know, I was surprised because I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to prepare. I thought I'd be quite nervous and a little bit apprehensive going into the exams, but I think because I'd been structured and systematic and spent a lot of time talking to the QLTS tutors and studying kind of intelligently, I was pretty confident and that I would be able to confront whatever was thrown at me during the assessments, because I'd done in particular a lot of practice questions, and that really did help build confidence and prepare me adequately for the exams. So I've been promoted to Director of Legal and Compliance, a role based here in the UK, hence the need to take the QLTS, and I'll be assuming that position basically effective immediately following my admission. I think it's an invaluable qualification. The law of England and Wales obviously has application internationally and not just in this jurisdiction. So having that qualification really does bolster my CV and really helps my experience across the board. As far as achieving that QLTS qualification, QLTS School I think was instrumental in achieving that for the reasons that we've discussed. I think they really did help provide the raw tools which I needed to be able to pass these assessments first time. I think a preparation course really helps you because it really refines the process of study and turns it into a bit more of a science rather than just reading pages and pages of materials, which can be a little bit overwhelming and sometimes not the most productive way to absorb the information. I think what a preparation course does is organize it, it focuses your mind, it reinforces the learning through questions and other tools, including engaging with other students and with tutors. And so I think really it helps to make sure that however much time you have, whatever you're reading and whatever time you're spending is effective time, which I think is probably more important than just quantum of time, which I think a lot of people focus on rather than the efficiency. I think allocate time, and whatever time you have. If you have a lot of time, great, but still don't waste it. Apply it effectively, apply it intelligently, and in saying that, that means reviewing the materials carefully, and then making sure that you reinforce your learning with practice questions, with talking to tutors, and undertaking some exercises which essentially reinforces the learning to make sure that it stays in there and doesn't just, you don't wake up the next day and you have to read it all over again. And I think that's the importance of the QLTS School and its materials, is that it helps that reinforcement process as far as I'm concerned, more so than just reading bundles and bundles of law, which can be interesting and important, but it gets lost on you when you come to apply it in a practical context. So I think planning, effective study, even if you have a small amount of time, you'd be surprised how much you can learn by just focusing and analysing what you need to do in a critical way, and then applying your time accordingly. I'd recommend the QLTS to anyone who wishes to practice, obviously, in England and Wales, and also anyone who's looking at international trade or international law as a practice, because obviously the law of England and Wales has very broad application, and the skills that it gives you as well, I think, are helpful to any lawyer wishing to provide adequate service to their clients anywhere in the world where there's any connection really to international trade or to the United Kingdom. So I'd recommend it to those people wholeheartedly. the modern world is complicated. It's fast-paced from a business perspective, and so I think what that means for a modern lawyer is that they need to really be able to reduce sometimes complicated legal issues into practical, clear, and cogent advice for their clients. It really is a job for the modern lawyer to be able to do that. I don't think modern business people, people in commerce, really have time to sit there and listen to intellectual banter. They really just want clear and simple advice. And I think that really is the challenge that confronts lawyers, but it's a rewarding one.